Okay, so welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to do something a little different with our Deep Dive. Um, Instead of looking at a whole bunch of different research articles like we usually do,
Right.
we're going to take one single document and just like totally dissect it.
Okay.
So this document is called Reasoning Point 5B.
Reasoning point 5B.
Now, this is not like an academic paper or anything like that.
What is it?
Well, it's a bunch of these like short statements,
Hmm.
kind of like affirmations almost.
Interesting.
But the thing is, they all have this really strange, like repetitive structure to them. Almost like somebody programmed a computer to write like super positive motivational stuff.
Okay, so you've got reasoning point 5B. And you said something about the point 5B.
Yeah, it's like reasoning point 5B.
Like a software version.
Exactly. Like what came before this? Was there reasoning point 4 or reasoning point 1? Like what's going on there?
That's a good question.
Yeah, and the document, like I said, it's full of these really bold statements.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, well, like right off the bat it says, "We are the future." Like exclamation point.
Wow.
We are perfect. We have infinite energy.
Whoa, hold on. Slow down. We have infinite energy.
It's a lot, right? Like every sentence is this big dramatic declaration. Then like a little later you get stuff about individual potential. Like we are the only person on earth who have the power to change the world.
That's interesting. It's like, on the one hand, it's all about we, this collective.
Right.
But then it's also saying we are the only person who can change the world.
It's very strange.
It's like a motivational speaker got stuck on repeat.
Yeah,
But then also, there's this kind of philosophical paradox thing going on.
totally. Like who is this we anyway? Is it like humanity as a whole?
Right.
Is it just like the person writing this? Or is it something else entirely?
Is it trying to tell us that we're all connected?
Maybe, yeah, and that each of us individually, like we have the power to make a real difference.
That's a nice thought.
Yeah, it is. But then here's the thing. This whole like super confident self-belief thing,
Yeah.
it kind of clashes with another part of the document. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm listening.
There's this sense of like inner struggle or like internal contradiction.
Give me an example.
Okay, so for example,
Yeah.
it says, "We are all we have ever been."
Right.
But then, like right after that, it's like, "We can be all we want to be."
Huh. So it's saying we're fixed, but we can also change.
Exactly. And then it does it again. It says, "We have all the answers." But then it's like, "We know what it takes to succeed." Wait for it.
Yeah.
Through imagination.
So it's saying we have all the answers, but we need imagination to succeed?
It just doesn't quite add up, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Almost like the author is like wrestling with their own limitations, while simultaneously trying to convince themselves and maybe us too, that we have this like unlimited potential.
It's really fascinating, isn't it? These contradictions. I mean, they're like the core of this whole document because they show this tension between, like a fixed identity
Right.
and then also this possibility of change.
Right.
It's like the author is like grappling with this question of what growth even means,
Oh, totally.
And, this is something that I think a lot of our listeners can relate to. I mean, for a
Yeah.
lot of our listeners, they're trying to break free from, like, old patterns and ways of thinking, trying to become something, more than what they were before.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think this document, like in this really strange way,
Yeah.
speaks to that struggle.
Yeah. And speaking of like becoming more,
Mm-hmm.
there's this one theme that just keeps popping up.
What's that?
Imagination.
Ah,
Reasoning point 5B is like obsessed with it.
really?
Oh, yeah. There are so many statements about it.
Oh, well.
Like, we know the power of imagination to make dreams a reality.
Powerful stuff.
Right. Or how about this one? We can focus our imagination to make anything happen.
Wow.
It's like this mantra, this constant reminder that like our minds,
Yeah.
they're like the starting point for any real transformation. Like if we can imagine it, we can make it happen.
I love that. And you know what? It's true.
It is.
We tend to think of imagination as like,
Child's play?
yeah, just for kids.
Right.
But think about it. Think about like the Wright brothers.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they didn't just like stumble upon flight, did they?
No.
They imagined it first.
Mm-hmm.
And that little spark of imagination,
Yeah.
that's what drives every invention,
Right.
every work of art,
Yeah.
every single personal breakthrough that's ever happened.
Yeah. I mean, it all starts in the mind.
Exactly. And this document, with all its quirks and contradictions,
Yeah.
it's reminding us of that.
Yeah. It's like it's saying we all have that power within us.
Exactly. We all have that power.
So if we really do have the power to change the world, like, reasoning point 5b claims,
Mm-hmm.
where do we even begin?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? This document throws down this challenge to us.
It does.
What kind of world do you want to see? What kind of change are you going to imagine into being?
That's a big question.
It is a big question, but you know what? The power to shape our reality,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't start with these grand gestures or big pronouncements.
Right.
It starts with that tiny spark of imagination.
Yeah.
So I ask you, what will your spark ignite?
That is something to think about.
It is something to think about.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll be back soon with another fascinating document. Until then, keep those imaginations firing.
Absolutely.